welcome to Load Bearing Beams, the podcast about movies and relationships that sometimes takes months and
barely
a half
exist.
Long breaks.
We weren't breaking. We were stressing
What
about.
do you mean?
Well, I'm saying it wasn't a vacation. It was a manic.
Yeah, but it's not like they were like, we had 4 deaths in the families. I have an illness.
All right, fine.
I was arrested.
Fine,
I spent
we broke.
a stint in jail. But yeah, we broke. We're broken people.
Okay.
And we, apologize.
Let's get through this, though. Maybe get to the podcast part.
Yeah, we will. Well, but I just don't like when podcasts don't acknowledge.
I know. You say that every time we have a hiatus.
But
we've acknowledged it. Do we need to dwell?
Okay. Clearly, you do not want to. I just want a little transparency, right?
Plenty.
The last podcast we did was August 24th. Even at that point, we were doing sporadic podcasts. I hope to get back to
spiraling out of control
once every week. That would be an ideal world. You know what I'm saying?
I just feel like you really set up something that's just hard for me. Every other week seemed right to me.
It seems like bullshit to me. Like, you wouldn't want that from a podcast that you
you're
liked.
You're right. Fuck.
What people would say to me is like, I like that on Fridays I just expect your podcast. It's just a part of the rhythm of my life. Then once it becomes every other Friday, it's like, well, that's not part of that's not a part of a rhythm. It's just
that's your aunt visiting.
Yeah, it's your aunt Flo.
That's once a month. Okay.
Lacey O. Roth.
What?
LOR.
Just.
But we're back now.
Hello.
And my name's Matt Stokes.
I'm Lacey Roth.
And this is a podcast where we talk about movies that we grew up with or that we saw a long time ago that mean a lot. And now we talk about them with our significant other, which in this case is Lacey to me and me to Lacey because we're married to each other.
And Matt's very significant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sometimes, though, we just need to talk about some shit, so we come up with a really convoluted movie tie-in. As is the case with...
I don't know that it's convoluted. I think a lot of us have been thinking about the Kavanaugh hearing as of late, and this just seemed apropos.
It's a little apropos. I mean,
right.
I don't want to be like flippant about it, because this is not...
No, right. It's not the sole reason. It's one you've found interesting for a few...
But it's not like we watched the Kavanaugh hearings. We're like, this reminds me of the War of the Roses from 1989.
You know how I know that couldn't have happened to me? Because I've never seen it. So yeah, I wouldn't have done that, right?
But here's the story. So The War of the Roses is a movie from 1989 directed by Danny DeVito, and it stars Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. I think that this is kind of the divorce film, maybe. I mean, or at least it's the movie that's about the acrimonious divorce. Right? Would you say? Are there other, like, I think Kramer versus Kramer is a famous divorce movie, but that's about custody.
All right, and The Burbs, nope, Money Pit. But were they married?
But this was a huge hit in 1989. It was one of the biggest hits of the year. And what happened to me is when I was in college, I took a class during the summer to improve my grades. I took a class called Screwball Comedies, which was like, okay, well, there's an A. And it was. But we watched Screwball Comedies. And one of the movies we watched was War of the Roses.
I just still don't find this a comedy, but...
It's a dark comedy. Oh, we laughed a bunch of times.
All right, then.
Yeah, but we'll get into that.
Cool.
And the movie shows a couple, going through the process of divorce. And when the movie ended, my teacher asked the class, he said, all right, raise your hands if you're on Michael Douglas's side. And I raised my hand, and all the guys in class raised their hands. And then he said, all right, who's on Kathleen Turner's side? And all the women in the class raised their hands. And he said, I've been doing this movie for years. That's always what the result I get.
Now, and Matt told me that's going into it. So, of course, I was like, fuck that. No, I'm not going to be, I'm totally defiant. And I did. Like, I true to form, saw both sides and didn't really like either of them as people.
Neither of them are very likable.
They're not likable people.
But when I was 19, I was 19 when I saw the movie. And I was just like flabbergasted that anyone could be on Kathleen Turner's side. That trollop.
Why is she a trollop?
I don't know. But in my mind, she was such a villain. She does so many mean things.
She does mean
There's not
things?
a single redeeming thing about her.
Okay,
How can I don't agree with
these
girls in my class are lying. They can't be on her side. She's the villain. It's not like I thought Michael Douglas was some hero, but she's like, in my mind, she's clearly the villain of the movie.
Say the things that were clear villainous things, then.
She makes him think she's eating his dog.
That's fucked up.
No, she.
This movie does go a notch beyond in a few times. It's like, why that? Wait, what?
I think that I thought at the time that she didn't have a claim to any of the things she said she had a claim to. Maybe, like, I don't know. I don't exactly know what I thought at the time. I don't remember.
The house?
I guess I thought, like, she's acting morally entitled to certain things that she didn't.
Yeah, okay, so you're coming at it from not knowing anything about life. Because that's
sure, yes, I was
clearly not true.
Dumbass little twerp.
A trollop? I
was a trollop. No, maybe more of my reasons will come as we're talking about this. Okay. But like I just remember having a very strong reaction that I did not have this time. Though I was expecting more to be, some woke ally who's like, man, Kathleen Turner's, it's all about her. But even this time, I just kind of think both of them suck.
And that's funny because I was trying to be unwoke, I guess, but really I wasn't. I was just trying. I don't think that the roles of what a husband does and what a wife does are at all what. They were easier to put in a box at that time, and I don't think that that's true in our life or in most people's lives now when there's a 2-income house.
Right. Yeah. Now, how does
even
this
though
relate?
she made income too? I mean, because she started her own company, so I don't mean to put that down, but
how does this relate to Kavanaugh?
It doesn't.
Well,
he said, she said.
Yes, I mean
perspective.
Yes, and inherent power dynamics among the sexes,
right.
Perceptions of how do men and women perceive things differently. What does a man see as a non-choice, but a woman sees as a choice, and vice versa?
And what makes a man a monster versus what makes a woman a monster? They're different things.
Oh, yeah.
Behaviors are completely you make Michael Douglas a woman, and all of a sudden he's Devil Wears Prada. He's a devil, which is. But he's just the same.
I'm sure I thought, Michael Douglas is the reasonable one, and she's being hysterical. She's being emotional. Why can't she be more like him?
Right, but then you realize, no, he's also an egomaniac. He is also way too into the superficial, way too into keeping up appearances and prestige, and so he narcissistic. Was that what I'm trying to say?
Narcissistic.
Yeah. Well, and just shallow in a lot of ways.
But
insecure,
but also aware of what you have to do to succeed in the business world.
It seems strategic.
And the way that appears to somebody who's with you all the time and sees through your act.
Well, he even has that bit about the 4 things that give the appearance of a successful man, right? The job, the wife, the car, and the house. Oh, the shoes. It's the shoes. You're right. See, he didn't need that house.
So the movie starts with Danny DeVito.
The way every Danny DeVito movie starts. What is with him in narrating? Why do his movies need to be encased in his voice? Are they that bad?
It's a weird.
It's
an odd choice. Let's try to figure out why, but let's try to figure out what he's going for. Because the movie's framing device is that DeVito is a divorce lawyer. And he's meeting with a client played by Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson.
What? You buried that lead. Shit.
He is going to tell a story to his client.
Okay, stop there.
Okay.
Here's what I did to figure out it's bullshit. Take the stupid wrapper off of it. What do you have left? The entire movie is inside of his storytelling. It doesn't need a narrative.
Well, that's the question you always have to ask with things like this: is what is this adding? I don't want to just assume that it doesn't add anything.
You don't want to, because whenever League of Their Own started, you assumed immediately that it didn't need the narrative in the beginning and the end. And now and then, you quickly jump to that we didn't need the women having their story in the beginning, and we didn't need the women having their story at the end. So I'm just saying, maybe there's a pattern here.
Maybe there is.
Male narrators. Not everybody's Morgan Freeman.
Let me rephrase that.
Please.
I am not saying that it's good. I'm not saying that my analysis of the movie is that this adds to it. I'm saying, what did they think they were doing? And I would say that, and I know with Now and Then, as well as what did they
Dirty
think they were
Dancing.
doing.
There's another one where you are just not okay.
I'm generally not okay with these things.
No, you're not. But it's funny because you're letting this one kind of sink in a little bit before deciding.
No. Okay, cards on the table. I don't think this movie needs this. I think this makes the movie worse.
Oh.
But why? But it's clear with movies like Now and Then why they have this wraparound device. With this movie, it's like, well, what are they even going for?
But that's
Do you
why I
understand
think
the
it's
difference?
more flawed. Like, I think it's the Danny DeVito thing, and the only reason I think that is because he did the same thing with Matilda. Again, another movie that could have just existed on its own. It didn't need to be wrapped up by a voiceover. It was wrapped up.
Maybe he just likes his voiceover?
That's what I'm saying. He likes the control of he likes putting it just so. I think it's lazy directing. I think he didn't feel like either movie were tied up with the straight up acting and narrative. He had to put his stank on it.
He also has to... What?
He also seems to want like an audience in the movie. Like the role that the Homer Simpson guy plays, like he's captivated. So he stands in for us. Oh, I'm captivated.
Maybe it's this. You need in this movie to understand that they were at one time a happy couple.
Okay.
And that their marriage and story has a happy beginning and has an arc to it. However, you don't really see it. You see one scene of them kind of happy together, and then it's all downhill from there.
The way they got together, they seemed extremely happy.
Yeah, that's one scene. That's literally like one sequence. And then the next sequence is Christmas, and I guess that's happy, although already you're seeing that he's like pulled away by his work. But my point is, you need to understand and feel that they were at one point really happy, and then figure out.
Don't you feel that there are plenty
downhill.
of movies that manage to do that without the need of a narrator putting it to you? Don't you think it's just bad directing?
Yes. So I'm saying once you have the well, you're not letting me finish.
Oh.
You have the movie in front of you and you see we don't get a sense that they ever really loved each other. So we need to tell the audience. Okay. They loved each other. Listen.
Look at how they fucked.
This was a great beginning. Let me tell you how amazing this was.
She did a split in front of his eyes. She's a weird gymnast for some reason. There's a lot of strange things.
So it just fills in a lot of gaps that a better movie would just have for you.
Only point is that this is an indicator of a lesser movie. That was my only point. Sorry. And it just seemed like you were on the side of it needing to be there. So okay, so it can be both, right? You're saying it needs to be there because it's a lesser movie.
Needs to be, yes. The movie doesn't work if you don't ever think that they had a good marriage.
And so the parts that are so frustrating to you in the other examples I gave is that they were completely needless because the movies all had full fleshed out stories except for, well, see, even Now and Then does. You just don't need the after parts. You only needed the then.
In that case, it was very clearly a gimmick. It was, how do we sell this movie? What is this movie? This is 1970. What a time to be alive and a girl.
And look at how women are these days. Limos, boob jobs.
So that's not enough. So then it's like, okay, well, here's the hook. We'll have Now and Then. There we go. Bankroll it.
All right. Fine.
This movie's got a lot of weird camera angles. It's got a lot of twisty kind of horror movie things going on. A lot of Citizen Kane allusions. So...
Didn't it feel kind of noir-y with the whole, her going into his office and soliciting his legal help? And
Kathleen Turner's very much a femme fatale, throwback. She's, like a heiress to Lauren Bacall, like that kind of figure.
I'm saying nothing because I don't know.
So maybe the reason I was wondering if maybe Danny DeVito was trying something different with the narration is because other stuff is kind of weird and off about this movie. Is something else going on with this movie that we don't understand?
Okay.
Probably not.
All right. Well.
So, he, I guess, is going to try to convince Dan Castellaneta not to get a divorce because one time he knew the Roses.
Oh, I forgot that's what he was talking to him about.
And
I thought that he was a new hire at the firm and he wanted to tell him about the worst case he ever seen. But I remember now he said he was not billing him for that.
Right.
Yeah, don't get a divorce. What is he, like some kind of little moral angel judger? Like, let me tell you, don't get a divorce because you'll die. It doesn't seem true.
It's not true.
And most people live because they don't get the divorce.
Most people
don't die.
Have horrible divorces and then live. Yeah. Well, it's not like... It should be like, hey, don't represent insane people in legal proceedings. I guess.
Yes, that
there's no lesson.
That bothered me, but he seemed to be preaching some kind of lesson, and it bothered me that that was the message.
It also like somehow transformed him into somebody who wants to be in a happy marriage because he was this lifelong bachelor who would get a woman to
foot jobs at dinner parties.
And but seeing how Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner destroyed each other made him realize that he should settle into a nice marriage.
But isn't that what they thought they were doing? She bought him a car when they were poor. That's adorable.
So he's going to have to learn what went wrong with them so that he cannot repeat those mistakes.
Okay.
But what went wrong? Who is she at the beginning? She went to a good school, right? And does she have career ambitions?
I can't remember either. What I remember is that she's a gymnast, and I feel like they tell you her role in this whole thing right up front, that she likes to acquire possessions, little figurines, which just litter their house all over the movie. And she can bend and like they make her a sexual object of someone who wants to gather things and who is sexual. That's what they make of her instantly.
I kind of think that's what's good about the movie.
Okay.
Because you don't have to make it where. Okay. If we what role do people play in marriages? If a marriage ends, what are both people entitled to? And what if one of the partners didn't contribute anything financially and was literally just an accumulator of material things? Like morally, that person's still entitled to half of everything. Well, I'm not just talking legally, but I think the movie kind of makes a case that she still is responsible for.
It's not even still. It's because of, right? She's the curator. She's the one that cares about the way the house looks. She spends 6 months doing all of it herself when they could have afforded hiring someone to do it.
Right.
And they show her interest in all of the things inside of it. That's why her only request is that she have the house. Mm-hmm. She's not asking for money. She's asking for all the things she's acquired. That is her life.
Yeah. It's her life's work. And she's
a collector.
And he is, although, do you get the sense that she's really into it?
I think she decided that she had to be into it.
Yeah.
Because what else was it that she was going to do? It was like a foregone conclusion. She will be raising the 2 kids. And it doesn't seem like it was particularly of interest to her, because it's not like she bothered doing a really good job. Mm-hmm. And they sell that point too in a weird way. Like, look, she's not even good at this.
That's why I think it's interesting. Because it's
kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's just making this case that.
But it shows her unhappiness in the role, right? It's not like she took pride in the children. She kind of just did whatever. Mm-hmm. She was sweet to them, but she overindulged them. Mm-hmm. But the house to her was like her crowning achievement of what she could do when she really focused and did hard work.
Mm-hmm. And he is a lawyer. It's not, I guess he's a corporate lawyer, but it's for a corporate law firm that also does divorces.
That is so that aggravated me.
I guess it can be like rich people divorces.
High stakes.
Yeah.
Like what is it called? Estate something, not necessarily. It's almost like a merger acquisition, and it's less of a divorce and more of a
estate planning, successions, and
yeah. Well, yeah.
So he is dedicated to throwing himself into this work so that he can make more money to buy his wife a nicer house. I mean, this is what he says too. This is all in service of getting a nicer house and getting the best for his family and making everyone happy, and all the while continuing what you are skeptical that's. I mean, what is the?
Oh yeah, I feel like he makes it very plain that it's about status more than it's about doing right by his family. Mm-hmm. I don't think I saw one interaction at all between him and the kids, except for to tell them to be quiet and to give him back his paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's I think is another interesting thing about the movie.
They did a lot of things that other movies of the time would not have even. Is edgy.
Is how kind of inherently selfish it is to throw yourself into your work, and how much you can use that to put blinders up about everything else.
And take the moral high ground whenever you're confronted by anything. Yeah. As far as like, why aren't you here and need more time?
I'm working to provide you a better house because you're so obsessed with your shit and you need places to put it. So she grows more unhappy Or even
They
does
have
it even
they
grow?
have zero communication. They
yeah.
don't. There isn't any deep connection besides the sexual one in the beginning. That seems to be the theme of the entire movie, is that their whole marriage is based on empty achievements that they destroy by the end of the.
But then he thinks he's having a heart attack. This is about the time his kids are going off to college. So for her, this is like, well, that's the time where I can like decide to end the marriage.
No, she wants to start a business.
But she did that earlier.
She starts the business when the kids are going off to college.
Oh, but I just mean that when kids go off to college, if you think like I need to keep my marriage together for the kids, once they're off for college, then you might feel less of a moral responsibility.
Yeah, but I don't think she ever that's not for me. That wasn't the timeline that it transpired. It was well, I was too busy myself, so I busied myself with raising those two kids half-assly, and I busied myself with this house. Now I'm done with the house, the kids are done, I'm gonna now move on to the thing that I'm to busy myself with, and it's not figuring out this marriage, because neither of us seem willing to do that. We just kind of live alongside each other. So she starts the catering thing, and he progressively doesn't take it seriously. He won't look at her contracts that she's asked him to look at. He's an attorney. He won't. He calls them little contracts. He says
he smushes the fly with it.
Yeah, he says this catering bit you're doing, this bit. And yeah, I mean everything. So it's not like she goes, and now I'm leaving you, so let me make this empire of pate, whatever the fuck she's making. She just was playing the game with him, where it is that she plays pretty wife who finds a way to fulfill herself until that's not enough anymore.
He thinks he's having a heart attack. He thinks he's dying. She finds out on the phone that he's not dying. He just has indigestion.
He also blames it on her. He thinks it's her crushing leg move that
he tries to get the doctor to agree to that, and the doctor won't.
Right. So it's just interesting. That's where his mind goes. No, I didn't put stress on myself and give myself a little panic attack. My wife crushed me to death.
Right. The night before he tries to make a move on her very awkwardly. He tries to have sex with her. She's not into it, and like he has so little awareness of her signals and what she wants, and then like she crushes him with her legs, and then he's just like, that was weird. Doesn't investigate it any further. Why did you just try to kill me with your legs?
Clearly you still want me.
Everything is normal.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to sleep now. So the next day he has this heart attack. He has a fake heart attack. And he...
in front of a client.
Writes a letter while he's on his way to the operating room, to the ICU.
When he thinks he's going to die.
And eventually, once he comes home later...
Wait, he also calls her. She knows it's happened.
Yeah, I mean, a lot's going on. I'm just trying to get
to But she makes the decision to not come.
Yeah, which is...
That's a big deal.
I think when I was 19, I thought, well, that's kind of evil. And even now, I think,
because she talked to the doctor, she knew it was a fake heart. It wasn't a heart attack at all. It was some kind of indigestion.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Still, that's kind of evil. Like, if I thought even for a moment, oh my God, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And you knew that I was safe, you'd still be like, I need to be near him to
okay, but she was also balls deep in an important job that she was doing. If you remember, the scene is she's going through something with a client as to how she's going to do something. She's clearly having a very busy moment in her career. She just got to start.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to drop everything because he stressed himself out so much that he thought he had a heart attack. I totally side with her on this one.
Really? Like,
yes.
Okay.
You would never do that to me. So we don't have to apply.
I would never do.
You would never put me in that position. You would never belittle the job that I'm doing and think that that interrupting me at work isn't a big deal. So I would repay you with coming, because you would never. I'm just saying, like, if you had a small episode that was not life-threatening, was really into something that was important and had a deadline, you wouldn't pressure me to come. So that would make me want to come. They have such a toxic lack of communication in their marriage, where they don't ever get to air these grievances. So this was the first time she could really say, fuck you, yeah. I'm really busy too. So it was passive-aggressive on her part, not malicious. It was just like one of her first opportunities to really send it home to him, like, hey, I now have something that I get to say is more important than family.
Yeah, that's all true.
It is. And it's right.
Yes, I was thinking of if it were me and you, and if I thought I was going to die, I can't see a scenario where you wouldn't.
Because you would have already had the clout with me where I take you seriously for that kind of thing.
That's right.
And I already know you respect the things that I do for work, so I wouldn't feel the need to stick it to you.
Mm-hmm. But, so two things happen from this. One, she says, or he has a big gesture of having her read the letter that he wrote to her. And the letter is like so phony. It's so like, it's just so boilerplate, like, my love, you make my heart soar. I know that I'll see you again in the heavenly afterlife, and like, there's nothing personal about it, or
right.
But I think
it would just sound good at a eulogy.
It's like a card, a greeting card, and he thinks that it's like this big significant thing. Like, I just poured my heart and soul out to you, and she's just like, "Aw, okay, that's nice."
Right.
So right there, you see that they don't have any real connection at all, and then she wakes him up in the middle of the night and says, I want a divorce, and I want a divorce because I realized... No, wait, she doesn't say I want a divorce. She says, I realized when I found out that you were dying that I was relieved because I was free. And he says, you owe me an apology, which is funny. Right. And then she says, I want to get a divorce. Okay. Right. So from there, the movie, they escalate the battle over the property. They hire high-powered lawyers and get into semantics. They decide they're going to live in the same house, and this is my side of the house, this is your side of the house, right. And it becomes very sitcom-y, but very dark because they do progressively worse things to each other. Okay. Anything else?
No. Interesting that they die at the end. Spoiler alert.
Because they're so into winning the battle at any cost, even if it destroys everything. It just matters that I get the W. And for him, it's you shouldn't get the house because even though you care more about the house, I am the one who provided the house and sacrificed everything to make that happen. And she says, you didn't sacrifice everything. I sacrificed everything. I enabled you to have a successful career. Maybe I would have liked to have a successful career and have something else to show for blah, blah, blah. And yeah, they die. So what are we left with?
They die with full awareness that they're making a decision to die. That's what's interesting about their death. They're jumping onto a chandelier that she's already said, look, I cut that earlier to make it fall on you. He says, oh, that was creative. But then they still make the decision, no, I'm going to jump on this chandelier. I don't remember why they're jumping on the chandelier.
Because she flees from him because he's trying to... No, because she made it seem like she was going to have sex with him, and then she kicks him in the balls or something.
Okay, but
and
why
then runs from him, and he chases her, and then she jumps onto the chandelier. I don't remember why she jumps on the chandelier.
I don't remember either. I don't remember why he followed her. I was like, was there a fire? Was there a bear? It could be anything.
A bear. There was a bear.
Okay, well, anyway, he has a moment where he can say, I'll bet we'll both die if I jump on this. Fuck it, she's not getting away.
Uh-huh. And they do.
They die.
And they're dying there on the ground at the end, and he, like, puts his arm on her. They're like, I still love you. And then she pushes it away.
Right, which is awesome.
Funny. Yeah. And that's the end of the movie. Oh, and then in the wraparound, Danny DeVito gets a call from his wife, his sweetie pie, and he's going to go home and see her now. And his client, Dan Castellaneta, has decided, I'm not going to get divorced. I'm going to go work things out with my wife because we might end up dead.
That's just such a fucked up marriage. But think of how much balls it takes to get the courage, especially for a woman, to say you want a divorce, you're going to leave, you're not happy.
Uh-huh.
Like, that was really brave what she did.
Uh-huh.
It should not have ended in her dying. And even though she contributed half of it to how she did die, it's still a fucked up message.
Agreed, she should not die.
No, I think she should have died in this movie. I thought that was interesting. What I'm saying is, if the overall moral of the story that Danny DeVito went into this is that you just shouldn't get a divorce. He wants to oversimplify people's situations that are in abusive relationships, that need to get away from their husbands or get away from their wives, get their children away from their wives, whatever the fucking situation is. He's going to send the message, don't, you're all going to die if you do.
I don't think that's it. I think it's about materialism, and you shouldn't be so attached to the trinkets, to the things that you collect.
He doesn't at all make that point. The movie does, but not his part of it.
Well, I'm talking about DeVito as the director. Is saying...
Okay, but he muddied his own fucking story then.
By having his character Well, he
Missed
does.
the point?
No, he does advise Michael Douglas, give up, like give her what she wants.
Yeah.
I mean, he does say that, like
Then
don't
that
get
should
so
be the point.
obsessed and absorbed into this.
That message makes sense. That things are not as important as you think they are because they can end up killing you. You gotta give up every now and then, and don't pick every hill to die on. That's a way better, more interesting thing than just don't do it. Run.
I don't know if it's don't do it.
That's what he literally.
I think it might be. Cause
maybe I have to watch it again.
It's like,
maybe he was more.
Dan Castellaneta's like just some dude who wants to have.
Maybe
like,
the only kind of divorces Danny DeVito hires are the kind that are going to be super combative for the property.
That's what I'm thinking.
That would
and
make
that
more sense.
Like his clients are men who just want to go bang waitresses, and he's saying like, listen, just take a step back and reevaluate what's going to make you happy. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe I missed the point. Maybe I just heard what I assumed he was saying.
Because you're very pro-divorce.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone should get divorced. I agree.
Except for you.
Except for me.
Because you got a winner.
But you can get divorced.
No, you got to wait till the second one. I got the winner now.
Well, that's not fair.
I know that's not fair. You're never
I'm
going to get the
never
winner.
going to get to the second one.
Yeah, but I'll always have the winner.
Some bullshit.
Yay. Well, maybe I'll die. And then neither of us have had to do the thing we didn't want to do.
The divorce rate when this movie came out was the highest it had ever been. It's been going down ever since then, but I think that
the movie.
It's because
Thank you, Danny DeVito.
We listened.
When did Matilda come after this one?
96.
Thank you, Danny DeVito. Then children were adopted more frequently after that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
When they were geniuses.
Their magical powers
Telekinetic geniuses.
were freed. Telecogeniuses.
So, don't get divorced. No, get divorced. If you want to get divorced,
just make it as smooth as possible and as fair as possible. Think about the after.
In general,
get divorced.
I mean, I know what your answer to this is. I mean, I think I know what your answer to this is. But
why am I even here?
In a marriage, if you and I got divorced, and we had some assets to divide
instead of debt, I'm imagining this world.
Imagine we had assets and no liabilities.
Got it.
What would you think is a fair way to
50-50.
partition?
I would always think 50-50.
You would always think that?
You get a car, I get a car. You get a sofa, I get a sofa. That's why, from my first marriage, none of us have a complete set of plates or dish or silverware. He has half the casual set, half the better set, and so we've. It's a stupid system, but it was the only thing that felt fair.
And everyone is morally entitled to that, regardless of what they contributed or did not.
Unless except for in a situation of abusive spouses or someone who's... I can't say that. I can't say that it's... I can think of the anomalies. But yeah, generally speaking, I think both parties in a marriage make the marriage possible and the lifestyle possible. So I think it will always be true for me anyway. That I would never feel more entitled than 50%.
Yeah.
Even of the children.
Yeah. Me too. Anything else?
No.
You don't... Okay.
What? You want me to give something else?
No, you just seem like you want to get out of here.
Don't I always? I just kind of need to... Well, I definitely need to pee, but I also feel like I might need to eat something really soon, too. God, that sounds stupid. I just really get low blood sugar, guys. I don't.
We haven't been...
I have emergency needs to eat and pee.
Okay, but we just haven't been on a podcast in a while. Like what?
Yeah, but making a longer one.
Let's make some predictions for A Star Is Born.
God, I just think it's going to be emotionally intense.
Why?
I'm going to want to see... I could just tell from the trailer that they were going to touch on some maybe near and dear things to me.
Like what?
About self-esteem, about past trauma, the effects of PTSD, toxic relationships, boundaries issues.
And is it like, but
and I don't know. I don't know why I got that. I just got nothing but emotion out of that trailer, and I was like, I'm going to cry just at the trailer. I don't even know why. I don't know why. Anyway.
And I'm not...
And because of what I thought it was before I saw the trailer.
Explain that.
I didn't know.
So
I'm not up to date. I don't have a teenager yet in my life. And
okay, but like I've been hearing about this movie for months.
Okay,
and
I hadn't heard it all.
And like I kept hearing like dude, Bradley Cooper's directing a Star is Born remake, and it's gonna fucking win all the Oscars and be the biggest movie of all time, and people are gonna fucking lose their shit over it. And I was like, how?
No, I can get behind
I'm
that
sure
because I've seen Silver Linings Playbook, okay? But still, that's some big fucking buzz. And then you said Lady Gaga. Well, first you explained to me what the first 3 A Star is Born movie premises were, and how the third one that was slightly different, it's changed to a singer. And then, okay, so then you say Bradley Cooper, and then you say Lady Gaga, and then, so I've got, half a face Lady Gaga under a huge hat that's with like white, like Phantom of the Opera Gaga. I don't know, is where I'm going with that in my head. Like I went straight to American Horror Story.
Lady
Right.
Gaga.
I went to my only other acting reference for her because I'm dumb. And then for him, I went like Great Gatsby, and I don't know why. Maybe because that would be the only thing that would meet with my image of Lady Gaga, like really dressed up. And
Okay, so he's a dapper,
but also
20s guy.
Right, like Art Deco, like.
Sidebar. Can I sidebar?
Please.
Is a dapper the male equivalent to a flapper?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
In sidebar.
But no. Okay, I don't know, but no. So
It's kind of your
I
thing.
was like, this.
I don't know, but no.
Great. So I couldn't figure out how this circus performance was good. I was like, because everyone loved La La Land, and so everything's going to become a musical, and everything. I did not. I know nothing.
You thought Lady Gaga would be playing Lady Gaga.
That was better actually than what I thought. No, it was just I thought it was going to be campy.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I saw her brown hair and the first few lines, I almost cried. Then I was like, that's not what I thought at all.
What?
I don't know why.
But it's just like
because
him.
one of her first. No, that's not true. One of the very first things it said in the trailer, at least the one I saw, is that she was always made to feel that she was better heard and not seen, or whatever the fuck she says about not being. It's like, oh my god, she's gonna talk about things that are true to her life. That makes something immediately more interesting. And then when we found out that Bradley Cooper took a year, that they're best friends, that I love. Or whatever, and that that she'd only do it, or maybe this is true, if it were sang live, no lip syncing, their big song had to be in front of an actual huge audience, so he had to learn how to sing and play the guitar. It just checks a lot of boxes, man. What I was looking at looked like a documentary. It looked like something really realistic, and to find out that all the other elements are realistic inside of it, like true to their own life story. He learned to play the guitar. They have an actual bond and good relationship. That all made it feel like shit. This is gonna be good.
And I'm getting the sense that this is gonna be like a Titanic movie. In that, like, every single person, like, people who don't go to the movies are going to see it.
Yeah.
People who see it are going to go back to see it again and again, because we talked to our friend who saw it, and she said she saw it, then went home and watched the trailer 15 times, because it's like, I remember being a kid and seeing a movie and then, like, buying the novelization of the movie so that I could just, like, pretend I'm watching the movie again.
And then because you said Titanic, and that was interesting, because that is how the Titanic is one of the only 3 movies I've ever seen twice in the theaters, and I would listen over and over to My Heart Will Go On, because, I was only listening to the radio. And then once they made a version where they interspliced dialogue from the fucking movie, and it would make me cry every time.
You're very rude.
I don't know why. It felt so realistic, that movie. I don't know why. The last movie that transcended nothing on the scale of this, but for my family anyway, was Walk the Line. And I think that's because Johnny Cash is something they can relate to without being into, like, current pop culture. So my older people in my family went to see it because of that, and then I went because I love Joaquin Phoenix, and for some reason, maybe because the singers are real there too. I'm just kind of.
I'm wearing a Johnny Cash shirt.
Oh
right
shit!
Now.
You are. Look at that.
I don't like that movie. And
I really like. I've only seen it once. I remember really liking it.
Yeah, but okay. But I'm getting the sense that it's going to be that kind of movie that crosses over. And yet, do you think that everybody who's getting obsessed with the movie feels the way you do? Like, that's how they would explain their rapturous love for it?
Well, no, because I think there's really huge Lady Gaga fans out there, and that's not me. I've always appreciated her talent, but I'm not a really huge fan of many things, not musically anyway. So I cannot say that. I was a little too old when she came out. So, like,
But the way that a movie has to become Titanic or anything approaching that is you have to move people who are not into anything.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be because there are a lot of Lady Gaga fans. It's going to be because
Wait,
there
but
are a
that's
lot
not
of
what
like
you
suburban
asked me.
parents. But what is it that you think is going to connect
see.
to them?
What is okay? So well, she's already got the baked-in fan base, and then Bradley Cooper for me. I mean, as soon as I saw him in The Hangover, which he doesn't play a super likable guy in that. I have been hooked. I mean, I don't ever not like him in something. So just
he's in
that.
tons of movies. It's not like his movies are very popular. Like it's not like
But
every Bradley Cooper vehicle is like getting everybody out to the theater.
All right, fuck shit. But it's his directing debut. Well, okay, no, that can't be it. What I don't know what it is. Fuck. I don't know.
I just wanted some predictions on the record before the movie comes out.
But
We're gonna go see it tomorrow.
How can I predict what people are? What if it's not tangible?
Maybe that's it.
I've never watched. This sounds so stupid. I still haven't seen the movie. Never watched a trailer and wanted to cry. Like I've never felt like I'm totally get it without understanding any of it. Like, oh, that's going to be my movie.
And I'm jealous because I did not feel that. I'm excited about this movie. I expect to like it a lot, but I didn't connect to what you connect to. And I listened to their song. I listened to Shallow.
Oh, another thing. Oh, so I haven't heard that in its
And
entirety.
at the end I thought like, okay, it's just a song about how they're shallow.
Okay, well anyway, fuck you. But I also, that is another thing that is consistent with me. I like emotional singers.
Yeah.
Songs where people sound like they're crying.
Yeah.
And singers who sing like they're getting all of their feelings and guts out into the microphone, even if it doesn't sound good. I just like that. The feeling of them really, like it sounds like they're flying to me. That like that feels that free. Like a million things with Janis Joplin, Alicia Keys,
Lady Gaga.
Otis Redding. No, I would never have put Lady Gaga there. I would put Sia there.
But Lady Gaga, like after the initial pop.
No, I don't know
phase.
her.
Oh.
Like I don't know her like that. I know
she belts out shit.
Oh, I know she belts out shit, but so does Christina Aguilera, and I want her to go get bent. I hate her fucking voice.
Yeah, ooh.
But Lady Gaga, I love her voice. I've always realized that's fucking good. That can go somewhere. But I just haven't heard it go anywhere because I don't look for it or listen for it. Okay, so but anyway, I heard that.
Well, it's about country singers.
Oh my god. You said it was more folky than country. But that's another reason why it's going to have mass appeal, because there's more country listeners than fucking anybody.
Yeah.
Why are you ruining this for me?
I'm not ruining it. Fuck you.
Fuck
I'm
you.
trying to explore something.
Marriage over. I want half of this podcast. I will record my half, which will never get done. And you just will talk forever over on your end. Because you'll actually get it done.
Yeah.
So you'll be 3 episodes ahead of me.
I'll just be guessing your responses.
You can guess. You know me so well.
You surprise me all the time. That's why this is a good movie.
Okay. And you're going to love the Jack in the Box that I put in the closet. Surprise.
What a wacky little surprise.
Wait, never mind. That's like the antithesis of something you can predict. It comes on cue. Never mind.
This morning I walked out of the bathroom and Macy was just crouched over with like her baring her bunny fangs. And I just went, ah! And then I was mad at myself for reacting because I try never to react to her.
It was rewarding for her.
Yeah, but I don't want to feed it because then she's going to do it.
Yeah, you fed the bunny
times
fangs.
a million.
All right.
Yeah.
And I even said, that's not going to go over well. And then it went over well. I'm like, well, shit.
But it's not like I was like, ha 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 ha, great joke.
All right.
Anyway, this has been Load Bearing Beams, the podcast about movies and relationships and stars born and kids with bunny fangs.
And we hope it makes up for everything we haven't done lately.
We'll be back soon with another podcast. And until next time.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
3, 4. Everybody, love Mary Beams.